YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here, I'll be doing a unboxing on the new DeVilbiss GTI Pro and GTI Pro Lite. I've just got a decent sized delivery from Spray Guns Direct. I'll be getting into the rest of those products later on, but we'll just be focusing on the Pro and Pro Lite. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So I've got both Pro and Pro Lite with 1.2 and 1.3mm fluid tips on them, and the HV30 air caps, which is their HVLP. I've got most of the other air caps, but I actually don't have any HVLP or HV30 air caps prior to purchase or to getting these. Okay, so obviously you've got the how to use guide and parts breakdown inside here. Personally, I don't ever really look at these, but if you wish to have a flick through there, you obviously can. This is probably the most useful page in this book, and that's going to be the parts breakdown. If you are stuck after taking the gun apart a little bit too far, then you may want to refer to that. But personally, I don't ever take guns apart that far. I've mentioned that in other videos. So this is the Pro Lite. It's got the 1.3mm on there, I believe. Yep, we've got the 1.3mm on there, and HV30 is the air cap. As I've mentioned in previous videos, you can see the size of these holes here are quite large, and that's why there's a high volume of air coming out of the spray gun. Pretty cool looking colour. It nearly looks like a candy. Pretty impressed with it. Obviously it's got that real nice feel in the hand that you would expect from a Pro Lite, and it comes with a pot. Inside that pot is a little gun filter too. I've had a few people talk about which way they should go in your gun. I personally think that is the right way, but in saying that, I used to run them that way for quite some time and exactly the same results. As long as it's sealing around there, which it does, it's a nice tight fit in there. They're not going to get big chunks sort of sliding down the side there. I can't see how it would make any difference. But obviously if you're using the PPS adapter, it's not even an issue because they've got their own filter in the PPS pots. So yep, I've got that adapter sitting there for it too. Depending on the shop you're working in, you may be using that. Okay, so we've also got cleaning brush, handy thing to have. You can just brush away in there. For an everyday clean, I don't believe it's necessary to pull the entire gun apart. And these days they actually come with 2 fluid tips. I believe they used to just come with 1, but now when you get them, you got a choice of a couple of different 1.2, 3, or 4. Any 2 of them. As you can see there, HV30. And then we've got our little tool here. So it's a Phillips head, and then it's got the torque bit there. I believe that is for undoing this one here, if you need to undo that. Personally, rare occasion, if I ever take that out, I just don't see any need to. And even any of that, I saw an apprentice, his gun was basically brand new. He did it on a Pro, not the Pro Lite, but he's pulled all this apart, he's pulled all that out, and he's pulled absolutely everything off the gun, and he ruined it. It never went back together properly. He got it sent away to the paint supplier who gave us the gun. They tried fixing it, and it was basically a parts gun. There was a few parts that were salvageable off it, but the gun itself was ruined because, yeah, he's just gone too far with it. I think he learnt his lesson there. And obviously here we've got our gun spanner. So the ring spanner is designed for that. It's always a good practice to use a ring spanner when doing undoing your fluid tip, because if you were to use a open ender, you can actually start stripping the thread off here. So we'll take that off and give you guys a look inside the rest of the gun. They can get a bit tight there sometimes. But yeah, again, you don't need to over tighten these when you are doing them back up, because that can actually just cause a bit of wear inside that thread. Some people say to take that out first, some people say to take that off first. I can't see it's going to make much of a difference. If you pull that trigger, then you're not having metal on metal there when you're undoing it, which could cause wear over time. And then you've got your air baffle there, and you've got a little seal inside here. I've had these Pros and Pro lights for years, and I've never once had to replace that seal there at all. So that's, yeah, always good. And yeah, for an everyday clean, that's not even an everyday clean. I actually don't even pull them apart every time I clean it, but when you do need to pull them apart, that's basically all you're going to need to pull out. So pull your needle out too. Pull that out, give the needle a bit of a scrub up, and even pull your PPS off. Try not soaking them for too long when possible, because you're just going to wear out. There's little bits of plastic in here and seals up through there. So when possible, just yeah, keep them as dry as you can. But during storage, I don't leave thinners in them anymore. I used to, but again, that's up to you. Some people like to fill half their pot or a quarter of their pot up with thinners, dunk the air cap in there, and it can just soak. But again, you can see there is a little bit of a sort of retaining ring in there, and that's plastic. So I would personally err on the side of just keeping it clean and just keeping it all dry. Put it back on the front. That's how I take care of my guns. We'll put it back together. I believe I have actually done breakdown guides on the Pro lights and the Pros before. But hey, you could be watching worse things like the Kardashians. Why not watch me play around with guns? I do love spray guns, so always good to get a new one. I'm very much so looking forward to getting these babies wet. They sent out a few regulators as well, so that was pretty awesome of them. And they've actually sent out quite a few. I think they've given me 4 DeVilbiss regulators, which are these ones here. These are the ones from the DeVilbiss UK. They're the same as the ones that we get here in Australia, but the ones in America are actually slightly different. They got a slightly wider diameter gauge on them, and they were a chrome body around here from memory. In the past I've used these, and that paint won't take long until that actually just strips off. But apart from that, they're actually good quality gauge. I think maybe 1 in 10 you will get a little bit of thinners seep in there and start to peel the backing of that writing off. But yeah, as I say, 9 times out of 10 they're usually right, and they do have a good seal. But that's the worst thing that can actually happen to these gauges, from my experience, is not actually being able to read them. I personally would trust a analog gauge more than a digital gauge. I'm interested on your thoughts, because I was having a conversation with my mate Lindsay from the previous shop, and he doesn't trust the analog gauges, he trusts his digitals every day of the week. So anyway, I'll put that back in the box and we'll get onto the Pro, and we'll have a bit of a comparison of how they look side by side, the Pro versus the Pro Lite. I don't think I've actually done many comparisons, but they do actually have all the same air caps on them. So similar setup, this one, it's got the 1.2 and 1.3 mil fluid tips and the HV30 air cap on it. So we can see that's 1.3 mil sitting on there, and there should be a 1.2 in the box here. Yep, there we go, 1.2 mil. Okay, so side by side, you can see obviously same color, but this one is noticeably heavier in the hand, and you can even see the handle here. It's just that little bit more ergonomic on the Pro Lite compared to the Pro. Even Chris from Spray Guns Direct, he did ask the DeVilbiss guys, why did you continue on with the Pro, with the new colors when you've got the Pro Lite? And they say that there are some people that just seem to prefer the feel and the weight, that little bit extra weight of the Pro compared to the Pro Lite. But yeah, they should spray exactly the same, because the technology, as far as I'm concerned, is in the air cap. And yeah, you can see there that all the stuff behind the air cap looks pretty much identical. And they used to, the Pros used to come with, the air caps used to have like a stainless steel ring around here, and this sort of looks a bit more like titanium, so they probably you know, lost a little bit of weight there. I've never actually weighed the air caps as such, but we'll get further into the usage of these in future videos, and I really can't wait to get stuck into them. What else have we got in the box there? Did I miss anything? I believe I've been through most of it. That looks like about it. The retaining ring, that's another thing that most guys will know that. So if you had 10 different GTI Pros or Pro Lights, all the same color, you could use these rings to determine which guns you use which for. So you could say, all right, they've got the red ring on the base, so I'll know that my red guns are for my water base, and I'll know that my blue guns are for my clear coat, or however you want to do it, but they're just identifying rings. So there you go. I'll give you a quick look at some of the other regulators that they're going to get me to do a review on, and we'll put these head by head. They're actually talking about doing another giveaway, and that's going to be with some regulators. So I'll get the details on that competition up for you guys later on. So here's an ANI regulator. It's quite light. It's one of those things that whether or not it seals well around here and around all these edges here is going to basically determine whether or not I like it as a regulator, and whether or not it's got a good true reading on it too. And this one here sort of looks like a cheaper one. I've never heard of that brand. So yeah, the question for this video is, do you prefer analog or digital regulators? Hit that little eye icon up in the top corner of the screen and make your vote count. I'll leave it at that for this video, guys. I need a drink of water. Now you've seen this video, get out there and paint some shit. This has been another Gunman production. Goodbye. What are you still watching for? Get out there and paint some shit.